We have our, good day, everyone. This is Shami Kar. I'm an advocate at the Dispute Rights Center. Thank you for joining us today. We are very blessed to have three great employers who will be joining us today to talk about their openings, their application process, and some good advice to join their company. DRCVI has been doing these roundtables in partnership with other organizations to be able to provide this opportunity for people with and without disabilities to get jobs. I want to give an extra shout out to one of our partners, the Department of Labor, Tashani Macedon, who helped to get all of these great employers with us. And we may have one more joining us from Coshula. She might be just having some technical difficulties, but I want to go ahead and start with saying that October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. That's the reason we're doing this for this month to celebrate. And I want to go ahead and have each person, each panelist, introduce themselves with their name, their position, and the organization they're with. So Ramon, I'm going to start with you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And my name is Ramon Reed Ventura, and I'm the owner of Cultured Naturals Body Care. My business is based in St. Croix.
Wonderful. And Zeb, would you like to go next?
Good morning. My name is Zeb Thomas. I'm owner and CEO of Exquisite Lawn Care and Pressure Washing. We are located in the St. Thomas and St. John district.
Wonderful. And Anquinette, you?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anquinette Gaspard. I'm the president and CEO of Virgin Island Food Tours in downtown Christiansted here on St. Croix. And I'm a born and raised Crucian IB.
Wonderful. And it's great, you know, when we do the roundtables, we have a variety of different businesses and employers, and it's great to kind of ramp up for the tourist season coming up. So we're grateful to have some folks who also reflect some of those trends that are coming up with the workflow. So I want to start off first by talking about, as we always talk about with getting a job, right, is what's a good fit? What's the culture of your organization? And, you know, what do you consider to be a really good match for someone who's looking to work with your organization? We'll just start with Ramon again.
Sure. So some of the things that are essential and essential requirements for persons trying to seek a job with my organizations. And actually, let me add, I have two businesses that I'm actually seeking employees for, Cultured Naturals Body Care and Juju and Cece's Lemonades. And the commonality between those are persons that do take seriously being time, working well with others, great interpersonal skills, and just have that exuberance and enthusiasm as they take on their day. Even if you're starting from scratch and you don't know anything, at least bring to the table that wants to learn and be a part of our team. And so we definitely take great care of our employees. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're at work, but when there is large jobs and such at hand, everybody gets to work and work in unison as a team. So we definitely look forward to persons that bring those type of qualities to the table, and we can definitely start our conversations from there.
Sounds like a lot of good teamwork. Very good. Okay, Zeb, what in terms of your organization is kind of the history and the culture, and also in terms of what you see as a good fit for your company?
Okay. First of all, Exquisite Lawn Care is a locally owned, family-oriented, drug and alcohol-free company. And like I said before, we're located in the St. John and St. Thomas district. The type of people that we're looking for is hardworking people, somebody that's dedicated, that's loyal, and that's honest, and that's not afraid to get out and get dirty and get sweaty.
Correct. We
have been in business and operation since December 2022. And since our first day opening, we have had a 5-star rating, and we intend to keep that rating.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Antoinette, what about you in terms of the culture, the fit, a little bit of history of your organization?
Sure, of course. So VI Food Tours, we've been in business now since 2016. It's funny that just today I did a post because today was the day that I got on a plane and came back to St. Croix to officially start the business. And so a big thing for us, our passion, our purpose, our cause is about transforming visitors into locals. And we're unique in the fact that we're the only organization or excursion on island that offers multiple restaurants for one price, where guests can experience authentic Crucian flavors, where the tour is also a blend of history and culinary experience. So some of our core values is that we want to be culturally inspired. We want to create lasting memories and want to pursue excellence always. We are 100% guest focused, and we want to make sure that we fulfill our promises made to our guests, which is that they'll have fun, learn new things, and leave moderately full, because obviously it is a food tour. So in terms of the people that we're looking for and that will be a success in this role, they will need to be a self-starter, because it is an individual role where you come on as an independent contractor. However, you make the tour your own. Yes, we train you, and we give you all the tools you need in order to be successful. But once you learn the script, you end up kind of creating the tour and making it your own. So that is extremely important. Being a self-starter, having strong leadership abilities is important, having some charisma and a wonderful sense of humor, great communication skills as well. And lastly, having a deep passion for St. Croix and its food. You want to make sure that you're able to convey those things to the guests and the people that you're talking to. So of course, things like being on time, showing up, being presentable, being well kept, those are all in pieces that are very important, because it is a guest facing role. So you're always going to be seen and looked at. And so people who, thrive in front of people and enjoy talking and sharing St. Croix and the Virgin Islands with others would be a perfect fit for something like this. And again, we help you, we hold your hand, we train you, but you truly becomes like your own little business after a while.
Wow. I think I might want to join. That sounds great. I'm a foodie myself.
Tommy's like, you sure you have openings?
Sounds wonderful. And I think we know that most employers are looking for that fit. You might not have all the skills, but if you have the right attitude and if you have a right fit, that's going to be one step ahead of other folks who may not, have maybe read about your company. We encourage job seekers to go on the websites of the companies, look at their mission statement, look at their operations and see, I do see myself doing something like that with them. So the fit is just crucially important when we talk about a good job match. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to break this next.
If you don't mind if I just jump on very quickly.
Absolutely.
One of the things just I want to impart on, potential job seekers, doing that research, that small little research, just taking 5 minutes to look at the website does wonders for you when you talk to a potential employer, because it tells them that you took the time to even see what the company is all about. So just doing that taking 1 or 2 minutes just makes the world a difference. So I just wanted to see that, because I feel like people don't really understand how crucial that is, and it makes the world a difference. It
does. And it's like you said, it shows the employer that you've not only taken the initiative, you've taken the time to really want to understand the organization that you might want to join. And I can tell you, just to top that off, I worked with a job seeker who went and researched online the mission of the organization. And she said, when she had the interview, I see myself in your mission. And I thought that was just so incredibly powerful. So, to your point, Antoinette, in terms of how important it is and how much the employers really appreciate that too. I think there's a give and take on that, and making sure that, it's just not a willy-nilly, you're applying for a job and, hope something sticks. You've actually done some research yourself as a job seeker, and you can hear from the employers. It does make a difference when you do that. Okay.
And may I say something as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, I concur with you both. I actually had a young lady that stopped in, and I saw her from outside going store to store. And when she presented, she didn't have a resume in hand. Nonetheless, I wanted to still converse with her. And she expressed that she was looking for a job. I said, okay, well, here's my information. I want you to take a look at my company and let me know if this is something that you can see yourself doing. And I gave her a little synopsis of my business. So she returned a week later. Actually, she called me a week later asking, still expressing that she was interested in the job. So I asked her just a few preliminary questions, and then I realized that she never took the time to look at the websites, get to know anything about my business. And if anything, persons seeking jobs should also look into, especially for persons who own their own business and we're not large corporations. Our businesses are like our babies, right? And so you have to be absolutely take great care and show that level of interest, because you're coming into something that's our bread and butter that we are attached to in a number of ways. So if we don't see that you're even showing that initial initiative or care, it definitely, there's no way that the door would even be cracked for you. So definitely pay keen attention to that. The points that Aquanet made, as well as you, Shami, were certainly first steps for anybody who is looking for employment.
100%. And like you said very well, Ramon, the door's not going to be open if you can't even take that initiative. And it sounded like you asked that person to take the initiative and then they still didn't. So right there, you would know as an employer, it's like, this is probably not going to be a good match, because, you know, not that saying it was like a follow through they didn't do, but, you know, you did give them that advice and they didn't really heed to it. So, and again, we know that currently that one of the major issues of why people aren't really getting those jobs they want, because they're not taking the time to learn about the company, which then, you know, it shows that to the employer that you really don't care. You just want a job, or you might want a job for a minute and jump back out because it's not something that you found yourself dedicated to in terms of that organization. So very good. Okay. So the next question I'm going to ask is in two parts, and some of it may apply to the companies and some may not. So feel free to skip over whatever doesn't apply. We know that one of the issues of how people look to get a job is to know if they actually qualify. So if someone doesn't have a high school diploma and you require one, that person's going to know, okay, I'm not qualified. Zeb had said that we're an alcohol and drug-free environment, and if you require a drug test and you can't pass it, you know that that's not something that's going to be a good match. So I ask these questions for the job seekers that are online to let them know, listen very carefully, because these employers are going to tell you specifically what is their screening process. Okay, and I'm going to break it down in two folds. Okay, so we'll do first round robin with having to do with education. So education requirements, any licensing requirements, any certifications, food handling card, anything like that that may have, you know, something that's important or a qualification for your business. So Ramona, I'll start with you again.
So initially my requirement was a high school diploma. I've taken a step back as I've started to look at what is available populace, and there's a number of circumstances and life situations that sometimes prohibits persons from going through the normal courses of thing in terms of education, but that doesn't negate the fact that they are educated, even if not fully formally so. And so I definitely don't pose that as a stringent requirement. I like to meet that person, speak to them. What is absolutely important is communication. Everything from your non-verbal to verbal communication, the way that you interrelate, not with just your team, but our community and also prospective customers. And when I say community, all community members could be a prospective customer. So your attitude and the way that you make people feel is important. And so I pay keen attention to those things. Those are first preliminaries for me. And then thereafter, I look at the person's ability to be able to perform specific tasks, and they vary quite a bit. Mass produce green beauty and wellness products here. So it can be something from simply sitting down to actually lifting, pulling, but we have a number of different players in our teams. And so what we do, we look at what your skills, your talents, your strengths are, and we align and delegate duties based on that, so that everybody has an opportunity, because we do understand that persons that come to the table may not be your quintessential person that may be able to perform all tasks at hand, but they also still have strengths. And it could just be even just being that person that has that customer service skill, which is something that is sometimes that particular charm and charisma, that je ne sais quoi, that you cannot formally learn in school. Just that personality that they bring to the table, that I find where I am when it comes to customer centricity, when it comes to appealing to that tourism crowd as well as your local customers, certainly brings together the offerings and the team and us meeting our goals. So I am open. I'm one of those employers that are open, and I want to see what you bring to the table.
Mhm. That's great. That's great because there are so many people who don't have formal education who are exceptional workers. So excellent. Okay, how about you, Zeb, in terms of any kind of qualifications having to do with education, license, certifications, and so forth?
Well, we really prefer a high school diploma or a GED, but like the young lady just said, there are workers out there that didn't get a chance to finish high school that are excellent workers, especially with what we're doing, because most of our work is more physical
Mhm.
than it is literal. So I've kind of took a little step back myself and kind of, if you can work and show me that you can work, and the skills that you talk to me about when we're having our interview, and it kind of comes over on me that, okay, this person can work. He's gonna get out there, and he or she gonna get out there and work hard, gonna be to work every day on time. And that's one of my biggest things is time and honesty. Those two things I gotta have.
Right.
Because if you tell me something, I'm going on it, and that's what I expect from you.
Mhm.
And those are just things that we look for as far as that kind of certification. As far as background, if you will, we do a background check on and to make sure that there's someone that can be able to do the job that we need and not have to worry about it. We don't want nobody that we're going to worry about nobody going into the house and taking anything or going back,
Right.
casing someone's house. So those are some of the things that we look for.
Mhm.
I think the other question you asked was for drug testing and stuff like that. And as far as smoking and drinking and going on, as I mentioned before, we are a drug and alcohol-free company. But here, I know in the islands, you can tell by my accent, I'm not from the islands. And marijuana here is a widespread thing. Everybody smokes, but we don't want that on the job. We stress that cannot be on the job. What you do at home is your business. But when you come to the job site, I don't need you to be smelling like marijuana or either be high or anything like that, indicating that. So those are the things that we look for.
Yeah, you don't want to be around sharp machinery in the not right state of mind. That reminds me of this person this employer was talking to. He did towers and turbines, and he had to tell the people, don't go up on the turbines and want to smoke weed. That's not a good place. I mean, these are common sense things that when you're in very dangerous situations, like working on a 100-foot turbine, just like you said, Zeb, in terms of some of the machinery is very dangerous. It's very sharp. It's heavy equipment at times. You need to be level-headed, and you need to be, like you said, in the right frame of mind and in safety most importantly. So, okay. And how about you, Edwina? In terms of education, certifications, license, background checks, drug tests, any of that?
So education-wise, we do require a high school diploma or GED as a minimum. But to what the other two employers said, Ramon and Zeb, it's the right candidate. You just never know who they might be, right? And the biggest thing for me, again, it's showing up on time, having great communication skills, being able to speak well to people. That's the most important. And many of those things you don't necessarily learn in a classroom, or you don't have it just because you have a high school diploma. So we're open to speaking with people, just apply and we go from there and we have a conversation, because sometimes the conversation is just enough for me to say whether or not I want to move forward with a potential employee. With regards to background checks, we do check a few of the references. But again, you are the person that I'm going off of based on our interview and our interactions. I can tell off the bat whether or not you will be a great fit for this particular role, because it is customers facing 100% of the time. Right. And so if you are not good with communicating, you're not comfortable with speaking with large groups of people, I will be able to tell that in our interview. Right. And so that will be something that's instantaneous. Your background check may or may not support that. Of course, we would do a background check just to make sure everything is on the up and up. But people who have records or have issues in the past, again, many of those things don't apply here because of the fact that we're customer facing. They're not dealing with any sort of monies or or even dealing with any preparation of food. So no food handler's card is needed or anything like that. Truly, it's, having a great personality and communication, passion for this island, and having the skills of being on time and being respectful and honest. Those are truly the biggest pieces here. So I think the beauty of all three of the businesses that are on today's panel is that we're not your typical cookie cutter organization that you may have applied to 10, 15, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago, right? Like things have changed. The world has changed with social media and just things being available, right? And to Deb's point about, marijuana being a big thing here. So I can't force someone to change who they are. However, I can instill that when you're here on the job and you show up at 10 o'clock, that can't apply, right? Like you're not going to show up drunk. You're not going to show up high. So on the tour, yes, we do offer an alcoholic beverage. So obviously we can't say don't drink, like we don't want you not drinking, but not on the job, right? Because sometimes we'll have it where the guests will say, we want to take a drink with us. We want you to cheers with us. And so if you're comfortable with doing that, then we want to encourage you to do that with guests, but don't take 5 shots. You have a drink with them, you do a cheers, and you continue on with doing the job that you have. So those are the basis pieces. If they have like CPR certification, that's a plus. Obviously, again, customer facing, you never know what you may encounter with people who are traveling, or even people who are local here, but it's not required. It's a plus, but it's not a requirement. But again, having a great personality and showing up and being present, I think those are the bare minimums. And it's crazy because all three of us have said that as what we're requiring. And it shows you that it's something that we're having a hard time locating. So for the job seekers that are on the call today, that's something that I think they really want to take heed to and listen to, in terms of, we're not expecting you to know how to create, a candle or know how to fix a weed whacker, a lawnmower, or something like that. We're not requiring too much technical pieces, truly the bare minimum, right? And anything else on top of that is truly golden that we would love. Yeah.
But, and to your point, Antoinette, in terms of all three of you mentioning this, and let me mention this even more globally, is that most employers will tell you, I can teach the hard stuff. I can teach the technical, as long as you got the basic of what's required. It's that soft skills. It's the soft skills of being on time and being a team player and, having some passion, like if the job requires it, like in your case with the food tours, or having that solid mind and focus, like for Zeb's business. So soft skills, and again, employers will tell you over and over again, that's the number one deficit that they see when it comes to job seekers. Once they hire them, they're not sure if this is someone who they feel like maybe you can train them, but if they don't have the right attitude or the right disposition, and definitely don't take serious things like code of conduct, then that's not going to be a good match.
Absolutely.
So again, as for the job seekers listening and who will be in the future listening on our YouTube channel, please know that heed this warning from all employers that you must have good communication skill, teamwork, conflict resolution, be on time, dress appropriately, be in a sound mind when you come. These employers have said clearly, you don't have to change your lifestyle. You just can't have your lifestyle at work. Okay. And that's a big difference from 10 years ago when employers said, oh, you need to change your lifestyle. We're doing drug tests and we'll continue to do drug tests. I know there are some employers that do drug tests, but they will not drug test for marijuana. So things are changing in the landscape, but most important is to have the right attitude and the right manners to be able to go into work and be a team player. Okay. And I think we've answered some of the second part of that question, but let me just add a couple of more. And anybody can jump into this because it may not apply to everybody, but it might for you, for Zeb, is fitness for duty, psychological testing, any other assessments that's required for you guys. And anybody can jump in that's applicable.
Mine is quick. I mean, it's a walking tour, so you have to be able to sustain. It's about a mile to a mile and a half of walking on the tour. It's a frequent stopping, and where you have shade available and things like that. But being able to physically go up and down stairs and traverse a downtown area, because we know sometimes it's uneven. So being able to do that is important. But you don't need to know how to run a marathon or perform a triathlon. But we do require you to be able to walk, leisurely without, any challenges.
Gotcha. How about you, Zeb?
Well, I think we need a person that be able to lift at least 50 to 65 pounds
Okay.
and withstand working outside in the sun. Because, like I say, lawn care is an outside job. And we do have to lift stuff, like we cutting bush or whatever, we have to lift bush and put it on the back of the trailer. Sometimes we have to lift debris and move debris and stuff like that. But I think, if I may, another thing that employees need to do, focus-wise, that thing that we carry in our pocket all the time that's glued to our face and ear, that cell phone, they got to
That's
stay
got to
off
go.
the cell phone. You know, you can't be on the job and on the cell phone, because when you get on that cell phone, all work stops. You
Right.
know, the machine go off, and that's how I know you on the cell phone, because I got kids, and whenever they get quiet, they doing something they ain't got no business doing. You
Right.
know, and employees do the same thing. When you don't hear the machine running, something going on.
Right.
And I got a very keen ear. You know, if I don't hear a machine going, okay, what's going on? Did the machine break? Or did they stand around? Then they go around the corner, their ears on the phone, texting and going on. They texting thing, I don't know what it is. We got to do something about that.
Absolutely. I can agree
I
with you,
have
Monica.
something to add.
Yes.
So in the background, we're seeing nice, beautiful, pretty products and such. And at face value, that's the customer facing part of my business. Behind the scenes, I'm requiring that persons are able to lift at least 50 pounds. We're dealing with 50 to 55 gallon drums. We have tools to assist us to unload those. We're mass producing hundreds to thousands of gallons of varied products. We have about 60 different types of products. We have to be very keen in terms of paying attention. We use formulas, we use machinery in terms of calibrations and such. All of that is critical. So as Mr. Thomas mentioned, paying attention, not being enthralled in just texting and all of that. People can make mistakes and cost thousands of dollars in terms of loss. And even hurt themselves when you're dealing with hot things, hot baths, and such, not paying attention. I'm also a nurse by profession, and I've seen people lose fingers and in different scenarios, even in the meat cutting in the abattoir, cutting meat, and fingertips are coming to me in a Ziploc bag just because they were not paying attention.
Yeah.
So I say that to say as a word of caution, if you're somebody that doesn't pay attention, you can definitely not only cost your employee in terms of dollars and cents, but also impacts your health and well-being, and also that of others and your team members. So absolutely critical requirements for me in terms of being able to lift, being able to pay attention, listen well, communicate clearly, as we work in unison to achieve our goals at my business.
And I'm sure glad you guys. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Thomas. Go ahead.
Let me jump back in, because once you lose a finger, a foot, a hand, or an arm, you can't get it back.
Yeah.
That's a one-time deal. You can't get it back. So you got to be careful. You know, that's
sometimes you can attach it back, but it's unlikely.
You're the $6 million man then, right?
That's right.
Right. My goodness.
Well, I think I'm so glad you guys brought up cell phones, because that is just so detrimental in the workplace. And I don't care if we're sitting behind a desk, we're in front of customers at a retail shop, or we're doing something very, delicate or hazardous, like lawn care and landscaping. Because I know I've been in stores, whether it's here in Virgin Islands or in the States, and people are on their phones and they make you wait. And I'm like, but we're the customers. So, it really has an impact on the bottom line. And also, like you said, safety and well-being. 100%.
Customer service is number one. Customer service is number one, because if the customer's not happy, they're not going to call you back.
Right.
You're not, or like if you're in, like the young ladies are doing selling, they're not going to come back and buy them from your store. And the young lady that's doing the tours, that's the only tour you're going to get out of them, just one. And me, like I said, I have regular customers. And if we're not giving them good customer service, they're not going to call me back. And if I don't make no money, you don't make no money, you can't feed your babies,
It's as simple as that, honest. It is really as simple as that. So, okay. Any other comments or information you want job seekers know about anything with your screening process? Anything that we left out?
I think the presentation, just wanted to just kind of circle back on that, just in terms of, you know, presence, right? Like making sure that you have a clean shirt, one that's ironed, or not too many wrinkles, that your hair is combed, that you don't show up with a do-rag on, or I've had some
Flip-flops.
job speakers come in
Right.
or they have like a shirt where like they're dressed as if they're going to the club or going
Right.
out to a
Hanging
concert
out.
and not to for a job opportunity. So just, you know, just think about, you know, if you were to go into a room full of business execs wearing suits, would you feel comfortable with what you have on? And that needs to be like your barometer of determining what you should wear and how you should dress. And so not saying that you need to wear a suit, but whether or not you'll feel comfortable. So meaning if I walked into a room with a bunch of people that had suits on and I had on my company polo and some jeans or slacks and some sneakers, I would feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel out of place, you know, but if I'm wearing like short shorts and flip-flops, company polo, and my hair is like, you know, I jam a hat on, that might not be as, I won't feel as comfortable. So thinking of it in that regard, again, not asking you to go out and purchase any suits and ties and dresses that you don't have. Everything you have is at home. We're just asking you to be presentable with it as you do it. Yeah.
And it's so important.
One thing
We all
about
had to add.
the way things used to be is we was always taught when you go for a job interview, for one, is a certain way you're supposed to walk into the room. And when you walk into the room, you're supposed to take over that room. Your aura takes over that room as you walk in. So everybody's like, oh, there's somebody when you come in, you know, like me, I'm 6'2", 270 pounds. I walk in the room, my aura just takes over the room. It demands attention. And when you come in when you come into a job interview, that's what, when you walk in the room, that's what I expect you to do, is take over the room.
I wanted to add, and it's something that bothers me as a employer, and there's a thin intersection in between your personal lifestyle and the way you attire yourself when you come into the work setting. If you want to adorn your body with jewels and all of that stuff, you know, that's fine. But when you're working in a place where things can fall out accidentally, where things can get snagged, where, you know, so the jewelry, so tongue rings, interacting with customers and you have a tongue ring there and you're just flicking it about, it's something that deeply bothers me. It's it's a center of focus. It's not, you know, people are thinking so many things. The mind goes to the left and the right. I think that we should be mindful of, you know, simple jewelry. I don't think all the ears need to have jewelry all the way up to every part of the lobe. I don't think you have to have on several chains. Simple jewelry. Understand, you know, everybody wants to look beautiful, feel adorned, show their hard work. Sometimes that's represented by the amount of jewelry that you wear. See, I like my bracelets, but when I get down and dirty in terms of getting work done, all of this has to go away. Hair has to be wrapped up and we have to get the job done at hand. And so when we have people coming from different walks of life, we don't want to, you know, seem intimidating or create any discomfort. I think simply jewelry is critical, if none at all. And pop your tongue ring back, you know, in when you head out and just have a great day. That's how I see it. And, you know, no judgment, but I think at the end of the day, we have to make sure that our guests, we're putting on a professional front, and it represents and is in tune with my brand image. And that's something that I absolutely pay attention to, and I've gotten feedback from my customers. So what I'm saying to you is not just my personal sentiments. And one constructive criticism is always key in terms of growing small businesses. And I've been successful as long as I've been in 8 years in business, because my customers feel open to let me know. And they said, I was at a show in Georgia, and somebody was shopping at my store in St. Croix, and they found me at the store in Georgia to tell me that they were not comfortable with the level of customer care they had. I went and I pulled up my camera to look at what was going on, how the person was interrelating with my customers. Customers tell us everything. Some of them they're vested in our business as if it's theirs, because they saw when we started from the mud, they saw our incremental growth. And so in some way, somehow our community definitely takes the next step to inform us when they think that it is not within the image and keeping of our business growing and being successful. So I admonish all persons that are watching to also take a look at why you think sometimes certain things don't. Some people won't be honest and let you know, but sometimes doors are never even cracked open because of how you present. So take pride in how you dress, iron your clothes, make sure that you have good and I'm in the beauty industry. I'm not asking you to wear makeup and lipstick, but take pride in the way you attire yourself. Don't look unkempt. Groom yourself well. Smell good. We have great smelling products in here. Don't stand out as a sore thumb, because you didn't do your due diligence in taking care of your hygiene. Absolutely. Thank you.
Get grooming. Don't forget grooming.
Yeah.
You can't come
Grooming.
looking like a wildebeest. You got to come to work looking real neat.
It is so true. I mean, we've got all sorts of hair textures, hairstyles. We want to be very respectful and it's all beautiful, but sometimes you got to pull the dreads back. You got to wrap up the hair. You got to have a shape up. And, if we're talking about customer service here on a food tour, nobody wants to see, like you say, a wildebeest, being around food. Maybe it might be okay for Mr. Thomas because people are so much, but he may have rules too, saying, listen, you have to be presentable. I don't care what field you're in, because we have people who are looking at us saying, oh, I want to do business with them, but they look kind of unruly, and you don't want that kind of image. So whether it's the aesthetics.
And just to add, if everybody that's watching, take a look at the 4 quadrants, take a look at all of us as us being our own selves. Somebody with an afro, somebody with straight wavy hair, someone with short cropped hair, and I have a head wrap on. You can present as your true authentic self, but your best. And you can see that we're doing that here as we present ourselves to you as prospective employers and persons who also want to pour into you and show you how to do it when you go out job seeking. So I just wanted to point that out as a real life example of what, professional front and presentation is.
Absolutely. Very good point on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to go now and talking about careers and opportunities, promotional, and again, to whatever extent that applies for your specific business. So a lot of times when job seekers are looking for a job, they're actually looking for a career. And so maybe it's one thing that leads to another, but what do you think? And again, whoever would like to jump in first, is to talk about either promotional opportunities or career opportunities with your organization.
Ladies, you all go first. Ladies are first.
Okay. You want to go, Ramon?
Sure. I have a number of opportunities at my businesses currently. So let's start with Cultured Naturals. We are always looking for great customer experience agents, associates, persons that are able to interrelate with our segment of customers, which duels between our local clientele as well as our tourists. We deal with all of clients, and we expect that whoever is going to be standing as the face of our business to be able to interrelate on different levels with different persons and to make our customers feel comfortable. So we have 2 openings there. We're currently in talks or actually working with the Department of Labor to be able to have those persons go through Department of Labor, make sure that they fit all of the varied requirements that we have. and as needed also be groomed for the position, as they also have several things in and programs in place to get persons customer service ready. So we are definitely here to work with somebody from scratch. And if we are pleased, once you come through that program, and we certainly would bring you on full time. Also, Juju and Cece's Lemonades, we're about to expand that business. And so we're looking for persons who are able to work behind the scenes in terms of collecting and processing, breaking down fruits and varied vegetables and such, as we get our pulps and everything ready and frozen for the varied seasons. We're doing bottling, and we're doing quite a bit of large manufacturing for that particular business. We also need persons to be at our varied pop-up shops and events that we're going to be pushing out for this last quarter and the future to come. And then I did not add the third business, which is MV's Exterminating, which is our pest control business that offers natural alternatives to pest control as well as your traditional. And so we're looking for 2 persons there in a total. We're looking for approximately 5 to 6 persons that would be able to work with us through the programs through Department of Labor, and those durate for approximately, I think, 12 weeks, where Department of Labor will pay you, the employee, if you fit what we're looking for, and you will be able to work with any of our 3 companies.
Yep.
From there, we'll be able to see if you are a good fit, and then decide if it would work in our interest to bring you on full time. So we have 5 to 6 openings currently, and all of them are starting level, and quite a bit of opportunities to grow and flex, not only in one company, but depending on your flexibility and your talent skills between the varied companies. You have opportunity to grow as well. For example, in the pest control business, you have your baseline rates, but you can get commission based on the level of jobs, types of jobs. And we do have an employee, and he's very happy. So he works hard, lots of incentives there. With cultured naturals, you have the ability to, based on, your skills, interpersonal skills, ability to help us even behind the scenes. Loyalty and trust is our essential parts that will move you up that ladder. We're dealing with our, intellectual properties and such. And of course, we have a lot of contracts and such in place, but we're looking for persons that will roll with us long term. So it's all dependent on your ability to work with us and, and be loyal to our business as we move forward and we diversify and open our distribution channels. So we're about to make some big leaps and bounds, where it would include traveling and a number of other sometimes fun activities and ability to, I'm not one of those employers that holds that big stick. I love Antoinette's business model and the way, she shows you how it goes, and then you're able to, in your own way, charge out, take initiative, and figure out how you're gonna, win your customers. And we always want to keep that continuum of circle and that circle of customers coming back, repeat customers. And so once you're able to connect with your audience and your people, then we'll be able to see that it's a fruitful and symbiotic relationship, and we would push you up the ladder and pay you well based on your performance. So all across the board for all 3 companies.
Let me just mention before someone else jumps in, because you mentioned Department of Labor. So let me put a push out there for job seekers who are listening. First and foremost, be registered with Department of Labor. Here's an opportunity that Ramon just talked about. She's working in tandem with labor. So if you're in their queue, if you're already on their radar, you have a much better chance of working with someone like Ramon, because sometimes they have these, like she mentioned, that these programs that can help kind of like stepping stones. And I know, like, for example, for people with disabilities, maybe they've been out of the workforce for a while, maybe they want to try something different. This is a great opportunity where you can try something for up to 12 weeks, you still get paid. And if it works out, you can continue on. And so I just want to, mention that, because we are here at Department of Labor. They are one of our sponsors, and they certainly help to get these employers together today. So I just wanted to bring that up, both on, you brought up the employer perspective. I just want to make sure job seekers know too. get to Department of Labor, get registered so you can take advantage of these great employment opportunities. Okay. And Quinette, you want to go next?
Sure. So our opportunities that we have would be the food tour guide position. As I mentioned before, you would come on board as an independent contractor, but in regards to the growth that is available with the company, it's beyond the company, because although Virgin Island Food Tours is what I also have my Cruise and Foodie brand, which is where I'm a food and travel influencer. I write about the food and travel, all about highlighting the food and history of the Virgin Islands. And so there are a lot of things that I do there, but also throughout the pandemic, Virgin Island Food Tours ended up creating a bush tea brand, right? So we're kind of similar with Ramon, where we're now like harvesting lemongrass from various farmers. And so there's opportunity for that there. So we, then there's also our marketing arm. Our goal is to expand and start offering more tour opportunities. So eventually I'd like to have a tour manager where they would manage the tour guides, right, across all the board. And then probably then having someone who is a business manager with myself. And then that way we're working out the business together. So for the right person, I am willing to train and have conversations and really groom them to take the lead to really make the business what it is. I mean, there's the potential for this business to have up to 10 employees. You know what I mean? Working at any given time, and beyond that, just because of things that we have currently in the works. We're just at the beginning of everything that we're starting with, and we just need the right people to come on board and stay with us throughout this time. And so right now I'm putting in the work of the marketing and getting the awareness out there about Virgin Island Food Tours that will ensure that we have longevity beyond this time and 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, to ensure that the business continues to stay here. And the biggest thing too is keeping it local, right? Like being born and raised here, one of the biggest things is that you don't see a lot of people coming back home to start businesses. They feel that they can only be successful in the mainland. And part of me moving back home was to kind of debunk that myth that it is possible. So the more people that I can bring on board to help along with this journey, the more that we can then encourage other Virgin Islanders to move back home and show them that they too can be part of the change that they want to see, right? Whereas more local people are moving back home and contributing to the community in positive ways. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, you would start as a tour guide, but I mean, I've had like my one tour guide, she started when she was here, but now she's in college. Every time she comes home, she emails me. She was like, can I get on the schedule? So she's already emailed me. She's on the schedule for the holidays and she's ready to go because, you know, the money's good. She enjoys what she does and it's not any long, hard, arduous work. You know what I mean? You're having fun the entire time and you kind of create your own tour. You get the tools that you need that are required for the job, and then you truly do make it your own. So I'm always big also on just employee development and working with individuals. So I've had some like of my employees or my tour guides that they knew nothing about credit scores or credit cards or savings and things of that nature. So being able to share that information with them too. So it's more than just, I want you to come and do the tours. I want you to be a human being that's contributing to our community in great ways. And I want you to be great too, within the job and outside of it as well. So how can I use my gifts and my education and my experience to help you in doing so? So I always want people to know that it's more than just the job. I want to make sure that you are also a contributing person in the community and a great human being as well. So whatever I can do to help you achieve those dreams, I'm always about that. Yeah.
Applause for that. Applause for that. Very nice. Very nice. And Mr. Thomas, how about you in terms of promotional, career, you know, however you kind of move your people into higher ranks?
Okay, well, we start out, when you first come on, we start everyone out as a laborer until we learn them and they learn us. And then you show qualities of being, you know, leadership qualities. And you move into the crew leader position, which where you're over 3 to 5 guys at a time. Then as time go on, you be a supervisor over multiple crews, where we have like two or three crews up under you in a certain area. And as the company grows, and if the costs are right, and we move over to the Big Island, which is St. Croix, which I'm really trying to get over there. Got to have someone that's over there that can run the company on that side. And that's as VLC grows. And then maybe you branch out to your own business. So that not only there's career opportunity, there's entrepreneurship opportunity. And I don't have a problem at all with teaching anyone the business to where they can go out and start their own business. Not as a competitor, but as a partner, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you doing what I'm
That's
doing,
great.
and you teach me something, I teach you something.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, you three are just an exemplary of the fact, and to Anquinette's point, that you can be successful in the Virgin Islands. You don't have to go to the mainland. You can have your own business here. And it sounds like all three of you have your own business. This is very exciting. We have entrepreneurs here today. Actually, I didn't kind of realize that. So, you know, I think that's another advantage of not only finding employment and a career, but you might, like Mr. Thomas just said, you might end up being a partner. So who would have thought that maybe a job could take you to that level? And, you know, to be that, you know, I don't want to say it's sole proprietor, but in terms of partnership, to be just more than a job. So it's very exciting to know. Now,
If I may
go ahead.
if I may add one more thing.
Sure.
People look at lawn care and landscaping as being a low job, bottom of the barrel job, but it's really not. You know, like I said, in the States, it's real big in the States. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes, it is.
And it just depends on how you perform the job, how you perform not just cutting grass. There's a difference between cutting grass, lawn care, and lawn maintenance. So I don't call my guys grass cutters. I call them lawn technicians, because now you're a tech. You're going out and you know what you're doing, because I'm gonna teach you everything I know and everything that I can learn, and show you how to do it the right way, not just take a weed eater and whack it to the ground and leave. No, that's not it being a career. That's just being a job. You can get a job at McDonald's. Even at McDonald's, you got a ladder to climb. You can be you start as a fry cook, start as a burger maker, then you can go to be a assistant manager, you become district manager, and then you become an entrepreneur. You know, it just on and on and on and on. The sky's the limit. It's as far as how far you can see. If you reach for the moon, you're only gonna get the moon. But if you reach for the stars, you get the moon, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and all of them. And if you reach for the Milky Way, you get a lot of more things. And that's my attitude. Reach for as far as you can reach, and everything else will fall up under.
100%. And I do want to just put a little plug for one of our partners is Vocational Rehab. And I'm going to mention at the end all of the partners that help sponsor this today. But since we're talking about entrepreneurship, just as an FYI, if you're a person with disability who has an employment barrier, you may be eligible for vocational rehab. And one of their options is to be self-employed. So keep that in mind as an option. Maybe you want to work under one of these self-employed people, learn how it is to really have your own business, do a great job. Now there'll be a reference for you, and maybe that will give you the jumping point to then say, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I just, want to make sure that people know in the audience that if you're a person with disability has an employment barrier, reach out to Voc Rehab, see what resources they have related to self-employment. And we also partner with Small Business Development Center out of UVI, who also could be another great partner when we're talking about self-employment. Okay. So I want to start wrapping this up a little bit and talking about some good advice. Now, you guys have already kind of given good advice already throughout this whole presentation, but to kind of bring it down into a salient point, what is the best advice that you could give on two folds? One is to be a good employee with you, and in general, because I think what most employers are struggling with is finding good workers. And there's more jobs and more openings than people, but at the same time, we still have such a labor shortage. And so what can we do to fill that gap? And as an advocate for people with disabilities, I'm always pushing our people, like, hire people with disabilities. They're great employees, they're loyal, they reduce turnover, high retention rate. And so, what can we do to make sure that we have a great, strong workforce in the Virgin Islands? And how does that trickle down to you guys individually as a business? So what advice would you give, both on a kind of a global level and also for your own business, for job seekers looking for work right now in 2022? And Ramon, we'll start with you. Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
Antoinette, we'll start with you. No, go right ahead.
No, it's fine however you wanted to do. I was just gonna say, like, just doing the things that are required of you. One of the biggest things that I've been noticing is that through our application process, and I don't think we touched on that, is that, you know, if someone's interested in, you know, working with VI Food Tours, you go on the website, we have a link that says join our team. And there are a few things that we ask for you to upload: your resume, and we ask you to provide a video. Right. And the video is 60 seconds, and you're going to tell me why you think you'll be a great tour guide and what your experiences are that would contribute to you being a great tour guide. So many people just don't upload the video because they're so used to your typical way of applying, which is coming into an office, right? Or I'm setting up an interview and I'm interviewing people all at once. But this is set up to save you time and save myself time. Because if you put up a video, I can see immediately what you look like, how you sound, your presentation, if you're energetic, what your energy is like. I'll be able to see all of that and then determine, okay, what's the next step? But if you don't do that one thing, it eliminates us moving forward in the process and you possibly finding the right job for you, right? So a lot of times it's just these things are in place to ensure that the process flows. And a lot of times I'm noticing that people think, well, why are they doing it this way? And it's like, well, you're seeking the job at this employer that's looking for this. It's a reason why, you know, they didn't just pull out the sky, they did it for a reason. And so I feel like having respect for the process is critical. A lot of times people are just like, well, I showed up, you know, why can't you just give me the job? It's more than just showing up, right? It's a whole lot more has to deal with it. And people have to realize that it's more than that. We're not just wanting to give out jobs, especially in a community of our size. We want to really groom people and work on our customer service and make sure that we're providing the very best level of service that we can. And if it was just we wanted to have a job, then everybody would just be doing whatever and we'll just be basic. But we want to be greater. We want to strive for greatness. We want to be the best that we can be. And you coming on board, just being able to do the job as it's being told to you, that's just a huge piece. So I would say, you know, just showing up and doing the things required of you and not really wondering why they asking me to do this. It's kind of like get your foot in the door and then you can work through everything. You know what I mean? So, so I think it's important to just get in the door and learning about what's happening before. Don't try to put the cart before the horse, as the saying goes. You got to go and process. And, you know, a lot of people are always talking about, the salary, how much money they're actually making, and is it worth it? And I'm feel confident in saying that we offer a very good salary because we pay per tour, and then you have your tips as well. Your tips are yours 100%. We don't take any percentage of that. So you can walk away because of your great personality, and you have a group of 10 people, you're walking away with $140 in tips on that day.
Wow.
And you did one tour after 3 hours. So I don't take any of that. And plus you're also getting paid from us as a tour guide. So that also adds to what you're able to make. So you being your best self is only going to be in your benefit, you know? So why be less than? Be greater than, and because it only is going to be best for you. And then you'll determine whether or not the employer values who you are. And then you determine how you adjust based on that. But communication, having a communication about to your employer, what it is that you're wanting to achieve, because a lot of times they might have tasks that they didn't think that you'd be interested in. And now that can help you with your growth within this company. So I think just communicating, you know, showing up and doing the job that's asked of you and wanting to be your very best self in the role is what's important. And I think that's just really the key to it right now.
100%. And, you know, when you said respect the process, there can't be anything more frustrating. And I think all of you would agree that when somebody misses a step, either because they forgot or they didn't care, that's not a good match whatsoever. So I'm glad you brought that up very specifically. I know we've got a question in the audience, but I'm going to have the employers finish, and then we're definitely going to have time for Q&A. So keep on, you know, get those questions. But I'm going to have Ramon go next with, again, best advice, both globally as a job seeker, specifically to your business, and what would you say to them?
Okay. I concur with what Antoinette says. And if we're looking at the current unemployment situation in 2022, how can you as a job seeker demarcate yourself? That is, step out of the crowd and show that you're going to give value to my business or to any of the employers here businesses. And as we said before, and you've recognized, is that we are self-employed, and so we are not a large corporation. Who is coming or stepping to the table has to definitely be able to at least present with the bare minimum, and that is at the very least true interest, true care, and a level of commitment and integrity. And I'm saying, for those of you that don't even present with a high school diploma, if you're showing me that level of commitment, integrity, loyalty, commitment, wants to learn, that's the way. And and this is probably the fifth time I'm talking about doors opening. That's the only way that door will be cracked, I'm sure, for any of these employers that are sitting here. Mr. Thomas and Aquanette both spoke of not just being in your comfort zone, reaching for the stars and the moon, stepping out, being different from. And those are things that are the first steps, I think, to be able to engage with prospective, and because we've interviewed and we've come across hundreds, if not thousands of persons, depending on how long we've been in business. Mr. Thomas said he's been in business from 2002. You see how we're sitting here? We can done read you from the time you come. We know if you're bringing what need before you even open your mouth. Your attitude, the level of confidence, the way you present yourself are important things. And we're talking not just on a local level in our community, but globally. All employers look for these things. So start there, check yourself. Department of Labor has a number of different programs. If you don't know how to create a resume, if you don't know how to be groomed and present yourself, if you don't know anything about even the soft skills, go into the Department of Labor. I really hold them in high esteem, and I've been able to get very good, very, very good employees through their programs, because they're groomed and they present with at least the very bare minimum soft skills needed for us to start a conversation. So take advantage of those resources that are there, and then and reach out to us, register with Views and Department of Labor, and see what else is there that can help you to make a shift. And if you have not been able to land a job, maybe you're that common denominator. Stop, look, pause, reach out for the help that you need. And even so, I'm open if you want to even reach out. And if I see something that really is not up to par, I give constructive criticism. I'm saying, hey, why don't you take a look at this program, this situation. I don't believe in persons just coming on and working for me there, day in, day out. I want you also to have some level of personal development, growth. I want to see you maybe not stay with me for a time memorial, but also grow as a person, grow as a professional. And that's the type of person I want to come to the table. Somebody that's not just here just to hit the clock and leave. Somebody that's passionate and wants to also grow as a human being. So those are some of my thoughts pertaining to your question, Shami. And I definitely implore all persons watching that are looking for a job or have not been successful in landing a job to take advantage of the resources that are at hand, because there's a lot out there, especially at the Department of Labor.
100%. And I want to piggyback, Ramon, with what you're saying, and you're the best plug for the Department of Labor, because we encourage people with disabilities, job seekers with disabilities, to absolutely register with Department of Labor. And you can also be registered with vocational rehab. You can work with both organizations. So why not have two advocates in your corner, two recruiters in your corner, two resources. So thank you, Ramon, for really putting that plug in for labor. And just like Ramon was mentioning about the relationship, the working relationship she has with labor for recruitment, so does Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas was literally just doing a recruitment event at labor. And again, if you're connected with labor, you're going to know about these employers. That's the benefit of being connected. So with that, I want to hand it to Mr. Thomas. Again, best advice. you know, what are the talking points that you think that if you want to join my business, you know, this is what I advise you.
The last but not least, right?
They have the best for last, right? We could say that. Go right ahead.
Okay, the best advice I can give coming into this industry is when you come to work, you come to work to work, and to give 100% while you're on the job.
Mhm.
You know, you don't come to work to play around. You don't come to work. My big pet peeve, play on the phone. You don't come to work to do that just to make 8 hours and get paid for 8 hours, because the job has to be done within a certain period of time. So to be mindful of what needs to be done and abide by the rules and regulations by the of ELC and by OSHA, because we are
Mhm.
ruled
Right.
by OSHA rules. You know, there's certain rules that we have to abide by, and I'm real hard on that. You got to come to work in the right kind of shoes, wear the right gloves, right eye protection, face protection, whatever protection you need. We have to have it on the job because we don't want you to get hurt, and so forth and so on. So those are the key things that I think that workers should have. When you, like I said, when you come into the job interview, you are a salesman. You are your own best salesman. You can't sell yourself. Can't nobody else sell you. But you know you're better than anybody. And that's what I got to say about it.
And let me ask Mr. Thomas, in terms, you mentioned, you know, come with the shoes and the gloves. Is that something that is part of a uniform that's provided by your company, or is that something they need to make sure that they have?
Well, as far as the shoes and all, I can't buy the shoes because I don't know what size you are, for one. But I prefer that they buy their own shoes. We will once you get hired on as permanent, because there's a 90-day probationary period. Once you go through the 90-day probationary period, and then we do a reevaluation of you, and you do a reevaluation of us as a company, and we both say, okay, well, yeah, we both can work this out. We can fit. You're a great fit. We will supply you with your first pair of gloves, your first pair of eyewear, and a shirt, a company shirt, company vest. Now your shoes, pants. I'm not too strong on certain kind of pants, but I know you want to wear something that's cool because you're outside. But once we supply you with your first pair of these safety things, and if you lose them, it's on you. But they're not cheap to buy, you know. So if I keep supplying, now that money turns into be a lot of money. I'm not saying I'm cheap. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, if I give you a pair of gloves, and next week you come back, you need another pair of gloves, then you come back and need another pair of gloves. Now you're being negligent.
Right.
You know, you're throwing them away, or you losing them, or you just want to pile them up at home, or you use them somewhere else. Because I've had people come and I give them a vest. They come the next time, I got to give them another vest. Okay, now where's the vest is at? What are you doing with the vest? You know, you're losing the vest, or you just take them somewhere else and use them on somebody else's job. I don't appreciate that. But as far as your shoes, you got to buy your own shoes, buy your own pants. I have pants that I can recommend that are good for the industry, that they breathe real good. They got nice material, but they are not cheap. They cost $60 to $70 a pair. I know everybody can't afford that. So if you come in some khaki pants or some jeans or something like that, no shorts. We don't want your legs and ankles out when you use the weed eater, something sling up against your leg and cut your leg off, you know. We don't want that. But certain things that you have to come with. You have to come. Anything, you got to come to the table with something. It's even in a marriage. You can't come in a marriage barehanded. You got to come with something. If you don't bring something to the table, it's not going to work.
It's like any good working relationship, no matter what. No, it got to be 50-50. Yeah. And I wanted to ask specifically about that because for job seekers with disabilities with vocational rehab, they may be able to provide some of those supports to you. So if you have work-related equipment, work-related clothes, work-related shoes, there's a possibility they could help pay for that. So just as an FYI, again, it's an individual basis that makes that assessment to say, yes, we can do it, yes, we can't, or no, we can't, but it's worthy to ask. And just know Voc Rehab potentially could be a resource for you for that, okay? Now, any last final thoughts before we close and before we get to questions? Okay, ladies, so, go ahead.
Let the ladies, I'm trying to let the ladies go first, you know, being a gentleman, let the ladies go first.
Antoinette or Ramon, you guys have any last minute?
Oh, go ahead, Ramon.
No, just, I hope that our viewers take heed and listen keenly to what we share today. I think that it was not, the cookie cutter with the sprinkles on top situation. We are being very real and honest. And I think that you've gotten all the advice necessary to at least start that journey to get employed. And we hope that, you're successful on your journey. So any questions that you have, throw it at us.
Great.
And I would always also say that, if you interview with us and we feel that you're not a good fit, keep in mind that as small business owners here on such a small island, we're connected with so many other people. So I might interview someone and I might not think they're a good fit, but I might think, you know what, I think Ramon would actually be good with them. When I provide you with that information, it's critical that you follow up. Because if your goal is to truly get a job and I'm telling you, man, I think you'll be a shoo-in for this one, and I'm gonna give Ramon that insight, like, hey, I interviewed this person, they did this and this is great. I think they'll be a good fit because of this. That's one less step that Ramon's gonna have to do in her doing, because she values my opinion. She knows what I'm looking for as a business owner. So she knows I'm doing my due diligence. And then you're gonna come in, it's kind of like you're a shoo-in, right? So don't always go in thinking that because you don't get that one job and you get that no, that it's always going to be no. No's are that's a requirement for any job seeker. You're going to hear a lot of no's before you get that yes, but the goal is to continue, just keep on keeping on and just continue getting better with every interview. Just fail better is what I always tell people, because you're always going to fail at something, but just fail better every single time that you do it. Because as you fail better, you're going to fail less. You're just going to fail in a different way. And it's just a new skill that you'd end up learning, because you never know who the person you're talking to, who they're connected with, and what that can mean for you. So take every interaction with people on this job seeking journey, hold it in high esteem, because just because they might be a no for them, it doesn't mean that you're a no for other people, and they could very well help you get the perfect job that you're looking for.
Well,
I have to add that was just such a perfect point, Anquinette, because a young lady came here, I interviewed her, she didn't fit the bill for me. But what I did, I called a friend of mine that was a couple shops down, and I said, I found you the perfect employee. And she was at her wit's end, and she had a timeline like a week out that she had to actually leave the country, and she needed the right person. And because she, of course, just as I do you, Anquinette, hold the opinions and my in high esteem in terms of feedback, in terms of prospective employees, she took me up on it, and that lady stayed there, and she has been such a great addition to her team. Be very mindful of how you carry yourself. Sometimes that no is not a no across the board. It's maybe a possibility, and be gracious, always be respectful, and always know that just might be that stepping stone to something better that fits you, because it's not just about us. It's also about you, the employee. You have to be happy. And if I'm feeling like this is not the perfect fit for you, and I thought to myself, oh, this is perfect for her there. And she has been so happy. She comes, she says hi all the time, and express, how happy she is about this new, alignment for her. And it was very fulfilling for me, even though I didn't get her as my employee, but I was honest with myself, and I was able to align her with the right fit for not just the employee, but for her as well.
Number one way to get it. Yeah, number one way to get a job, networking. Those are prime examples. Mr. Thomas, I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds if you have anything. So I want to make sure that we finish by 1, and I know we have a couple of questions.
Okay, a couple of seconds. Keep your head up, put your best foot forward, and go for it.
That's right.
That's it.
1, 2, 3. That's it. That's right. So before we get to the question, I want to make sure that I let you know, the audience, of who was partnership in this to make this happen today. We mentioned the Virgin Islands Department of Labor, got the Economic Development Authority, Small Business Development Center, the VI University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. We have Island Therapy Solutions, the ADA coordinator for the territory, and vocational rehab along with us at Disability Rights Center. I want to make sure to give them all a shout out and a thank you. They've been great partners to celebrate all of October when it comes to National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So with that, Kishma, there were some questions in the audience?
Yes, we have one at this time from Mr. Gerard Evelyn. He says that I am the ADA Coordinator Outreach Specialist for the Office of Senator Whitaker. Do any one of you guys have a position available for a person who is visually impaired?
I do not at Virgin Island Food Tours, because it is a walking food tour, so that would be necessary for us here. That doesn't mean that in near future we might not have something within the next 6 to 12 months, but as of right now, at this moment, no, we do not.
I would have to say no, Steph. I'm sorry that I can't accommodate you in a situation like that because of the machinery that we use. I am so sorry.
Currently, I'm the same as the other two employers. However, I am exploring ways that I can accommodate the populace of persons in the disability segment and who are job seeking. I think I would have to find out some more information. I do have different types of jobs that may be fitting. So I will reach out to Senator Whitaker's office and get more information. So that's not a actual no, that's there's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just gonna say just a question to that person, because visually impaired, that's like a broad spectrum, right? So like, for instance, my grandmother was completely blind 100%. Visually impaired might just mean they might have a limited vision, right? So it would be important to know what that is, because there are so many jobs that are out there right now. Like I know, like What's the Scoop in downtown Christiansted is hiring. There's quite a few other businesses in the downtown area that are hiring that might be in a retail space. So there could be things and a lot of office opportunities as well. I know the Art Park has been hiring for things as well. So it just depends on what their level of visual impairness is to determine what it is. But with all the roles that we have and the businesses that we have, it's required, site is required in order for it to be successful. So while the no from us doesn't mean that we wouldn't know people who would work well, so we just need a little bit more of that information from them.
Absolutely. And I want to mention to people with disabilities, again, vocational rehab, Island Therapy Solutions, our partners, can help you with some of the accommodations. Maybe you're unsure of what accommodations you have a right to ask for, regardless of what industry. So make sure that you also know about them. For the employers here online, as well as in the territory, Island Therapy Solution does a lot of what they call situational assessments for the employers, which is free. So if these employers, along with anybody else, would like to have somebody come in, a specialist, to look at your workplace and to look at positions and to say what is feasible and what is not feasible. And Shane, who is our point person for Island Therapy Solution, would be happy to work with any employer to look at that as a possibility of just assessing to see what is a possibility. Okay. Kishma, do we have any more questions?
No, not at this time. That was the only question on the floor. But if any of the attendees can raise their hand, they can be allowed to speak for the next couple of minutes to ask a question.
And please do keep your question general. We don't answer specific questions, okay? Ramon, did you have a quick comment?
No, I did not.
Okay. So if we don't have any other questions, and we'll wait a minute or two, again, we want to greatly thank, and I'm just so tickled that we had all entrepreneurs today. What a great coincidence. And I think this is another opportunity for people with disabilities to see that there are so many options to work in the Virgin Islands. It's not just maybe just at the university, just with the government, maybe a traditional, I'll say it, I've said it before, even the governor said, everybody needs a legal hustle in the Virgin Islands. There's nothing wrong with that. And why not have your own business? These three people are exemplary to show you that whatever industry, there's something for you out there. So again, if you're looking for self-employment, you can work with these folks, do a great job for them, let them know that you have an interest and that you want to learn from them. And then if they've inspired you so much to start your own business, you can talk to SBDC, you can talk to vocational rehab. We have our partners to really help you advance yourself in the world of work. So with that, I also want to mention for National Disability Employment Month, the theme for this year is disability is part of the equity equation. And so DRCVI, along with our partners, we look to do that to make disability part of the equity equation. In this case, we're talking about recruitment. Okay. So with that, we thank you very much.
I did have one
Sorry.
thing, because I realized that we hadn't said, obviously we've talked about the jobs, but we hadn't really said specifically how the potential job seekers can apply
Sure, go
for
ahead.
us, right? So for mine, it's on VI Food Tours on our website. We have a page called Join Our Team. So I don't know, I dropped it in our host panelist chat. So I don't know
Wonderful.
if possibly that can
Yep.
be shared with the panelists in another chat format.
Sure.
And then if Ramon has another option, and if Mr. Thomas has an option as to what's the best, I think we should all share what's the best way for potential job seekers to apply. Because I don't think any of us mentioned that.
Yep, go ahead.
So I just
Well-
mentioned mine. So vifoodtours.com/join our team, join-our-team. But if you go to the website and just scroll to the bottom of the page, it would be there. So that would be how you would start. And then we would go from there contacting you.
Gotcha. Wonderful. And Ramon, I think is applied through VIDOL
Sure.
next week. Wonderful. Good, good, good.
Yes.
But as well as with us, you can apply at the Department of Labor here on St. Thomas. And
Right.
like I said, once we get on to St. Croix, which was going to be soon, we got to come to St. Croix and get that place looking nice. Then we'll be able to hire from St. Croix.
And thank you for that, because again, I can't thank you guys enough for the push of also labor, because we partner so well with them. And really, truly a job seeker with or without disabilities, your best ally is Department of Labor, and your second best ally for your job seeker with disability is vocational rehab. So with that, great presentations from everybody. Really appreciate all the just amount of information. I hope job seekers are paying attention, writing things down, taking notes. And if you'd like to follow up, we have everybody's contact information. And if you would just like to talk to them on a casual basis, just to explore the option, I'm sure all three would be very interested just to start that conversation. Okay. So with that, I want to thank Kishma Cricky for organizing and helping to facilitate today. She's kind of behind the scene, but she's right here helping us with DRCVI. Want to thank all our panelists for just joining us today. Some just jumped in very quickly too, so just appreciate that. I want to give another shout out to Tashani Macedon with helping to facilitate and get these great employers with us today. And with that, I hope that you have a very good rest of the day. Please stay safe. I know there's a lot of rain and storms coming with us. Some of us are flying and are a little nervous to go back to the other islands, but everybody stay safe. Have a very good day. And please don't hesitate to let us know at DRCVI. If you need any assistance for people with disabilities, you can call us at 340-772-1200. You can email us at info@drcvi.org. And you can visit us on the website at www.drcvi.org. And with that, again, my name is Shami Carr. I'm an advocate at the Disability Rights Center, and it's been an absolute pleasure to host this and to present this information with these great employers today. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
All right.
Thank
bye-bye.
you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.